Some of these fans have been here since over a week ago to get their spot on the grounds for tonight's race. You know, the Rose Bowl holds 101,000 fans. Madison Square Garden, a mere 20,000. But this stadium holds 150,000 people, and they're all revved up and ready to see one of racing's great spectacles. Just a couple of moments away from the command of fire engines, and let's talk about a critical element that could determine who wins tonight's race. Pit strategy, more specifically, the spot you've been assigned on pit road determined by qualifying could determine the outcome.
Alan, this is the only racetrack left with 2 pit roads and only 21 good pit stalls on the front straightaway. And you said those are the first 21 qualifiers. Pace car goes by turn 4, drops these cars off. They make their pit stop, and they're able to charge around the backstretch over to turn 3. The pace car will go here to turn 3 and drop these guys off. These fellas have the advantage of running 60, 70, 80 miles per hour to get over to turn 3. The pace car will run just 45 miles per hour between turns 1 and 2. So that's the big advantage that the front stretch guys have.
4 words will unleash 32,000 horsepower right now.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, for the command to start the Sharpie 500, Rocky Cook.
Gentlemen, start your engine.
Like we've been waiting for a long time for those 4 words, but finally, as the sun starts to set, the engines roar to life, and the excitement is about to get underway here in Thunder Valley. Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR, is the proud sponsor of the Bud Pole Award, given to the fastest qualifier at each NASCAR Winston Cup race. Jeff Green with his first career Bud Pole Award. Now 14 different drivers in next February's Bud Shootout. Since 1979, Anheuser-Busch has awarded more than $7 million as the title sponsor of NASCAR's Pole Award program. Now the Walmart starting grid for tonight's Sharpie 500. Jeff Green and Mike Skinner making it an all Richard Childress Racing front row. First front row qualifying for Skinner since last year's California race. Ron Hornaday's best ever Winston Cup qualifying puts him in row 2 with the most recent Bristol winner, ELLIOTT Sadler. Title contenders Ricky Rudd and Jeff Gordon share row number 3. Gordon 4 Bristol wins, but none at night. And the third player in the title chase is right behind him in row 4. Dale Jarrett, the 97 winner of this race, but Kevin Harvick won the Busch Series race here last night. Rusty Wallace and Todd Bodine in row 5. Rusty, a 9-time winner here at Bristol.
On the inside of row 6 is Kenny Schrader. Finished 3rd the first concrete race here. On the outside, Jerry Nadeau. Back in row 7, Jeffrey Bodine is back in NASCAR Winston Cup racing, driving his brother Brett's car. Ward Burton on the outside. In row 8, Bobby Hamilton and Bobby Labonte, last year's Winston Cup champion. On the inside of row 9, Sterling Marlin, the winner last week in Michigan, and Tony Stewart. In row 10, on the inside, Robert Presley and Brett Bodine on the outside.
Row number 11, Terry Labonte and Jeff Burton with differing fortunes in qualifying, because Terry got the last front stretch pit stall. Burton and everybody else in the field had to go to the back. There's Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the outside of row 12. His best Bristol finish is a 21st. Kevin LePage and Kurt Busch back in row 13. Kurt's only finish here at Bristol was a 42nd in March. Mike Wallace and Dave Blaney in row 14. Blaney from 41st to 6th place last week at Michigan. Johnny Benson finished 2nd in the race here in the spring of 2000 from the back pits. He's got to come from there tonight along with Jeremy Mayfield. Mark Martin, a 3rd place last August, his 15th Bristol top 5, and Rick Mast makes his 350th Winston Cup start. A couple of rookie drivers sharing row 17. It's Andy Houston in one of his final rides in this car. And Casey Atwood, whose 21st birthday is today. The 1988 Bristol winner, Bill Elliott, is back in row 18, along with Buckshot Jones, the last car to qualify on time. Now those who got in on a provisional. Steve Park has finished in the top 10 his last 3 Bristol races. He has a very fast race car after yesterday's final practice. He's got to come from row 19. Ricky Craven and Michael Waltrip in row 20. And the final 3 starters, Joe Nemechek, John Andretti, and Jason Leffler. 6 drivers attempted to qualify for the race, but were unable to be in the field. There you see the list. Kyle Petty, Hut Strickland, Stacy Compton, the drivers who've been running every race on the series this year. That hurts. Now some storylines will follow through the Sharpie 500. Remember I talked about what the preacher's lesson was tonight at the chapel service for the drivers?
Temper, temper. We'll see plenty of that, I'll guarantee it. And you can't not see it here at Bristol. It's tight, close racing. You're going to have the drivers are going to be mad at each other. The teams are going to be mad at each other. Everybody's going to be mad at. Hopefully we won't be mad at each other, VP.
Hopefully not, Wally. And pit strategy. Folks, Elliott Sadler here ran 162 laps in the spring, stayed on the racetrack, and did not go in the pits. We may see some of that again tonight.
Points peril. Ricky Rudd talked about it when we spoke with him earlier. This race in Talladega, perhaps the 2 biggest wild cards left for Jeff Gordon, where he could lose a chunk of points because of something out of his control. Could happen tonight. 150,000 fans are on their feet. The pace cars on pit road. We are delighted you're with us for the Sharpie 500 at Bristol. Jeff Green leads lap 1. Ricky Craven had some trouble getting up to speed. He's going now at the back of the field. Elliott Sadler and Ron Hornaday racing for 3rd. Everything happens quickly here at Bristol, including getting to lap 3. Hornaday kind of getting shuffled back in that outside lane.
Yeah, there you see the 14's hung up there, and it's hard to get down that bottom lane. Right now, he's screaming at his spotter, find me a line down so I can get in a hole down at the bottom of that racetrack. He's about to lose a lot of spots if he doesn't get that car down.
Looks like he's going to be able to get down the bottom of the racetrack right in front of Rusty Wallace.
It's going to put him back in the 8th position. He started 3rd.
And we talk about drivers and teams that really don't like to come to Bristol. I think Rusty Wallace and his team are some people that do, in fact, like to come to Bristol.
Wallace running in 9th. Just ahead of Todd Bodine, who's in 10th. Ricky Rudd pressing Jeff Gordon. This is 4th place.
Rudd is right there, but he wants, every time Jeff Gordon looks in the rearview mirror, not to be able to see anything but the windshield. This time, Gordon goes up the racetrack and says, okay, Ricky, I get the point. I'll let you go.
Made possible by the fact that they had a gap behind him back to Kevin Harvick. If there were a line of cars there, Gordon never could have let him go.
That's right, but he decided when he knew there was a gap back there, the wisest thing he could do would be let Ricky Rudd go.
Kevin Harvick running 6th, winner of the NASCAR Busch Series race here last night. Dominated much of the spring race here at Bristol, but fell victim to a flat tire in the late going. It sent him way back in the field at the finish. This is Johnny Benson and Casey Atwood working underneath Mike Wallace.
Mike Wallace gets a great run off the corner, takes his spot away. Meanwhile, Casey Atwood on the inside of Benson. Battle back about the 30th position.
little bit loose there. Good recovery, though. I mean, that's all it's going to take if a car slips up the racetrack a little bit for everybody to just train on by.
So you got to run this time. Trouble, turn 2. Buckshot Jones. Caution's out. The last 2 races here at Bristol have featured 13 different caution periods. The first of them tonight has just happened at lap number 13 as Buckshot Jones got spun around in turn number 2. Back at Bristol Motor Speedway, the Sharpie 500 under its first caution period came out at lap number 13 when Buckshot Jones got spun around off turn number 2.
Going down to turn 1, we'll see Buckshot come in the corner. He's going to get some help from Jason Leffler. And around goes Buckshot, and fortunately, all the leaders were right behind them, but fortunately, it was a 1-car incident.
That won't be the last time we use that phrase tonight.
No.
Got some help.
Got some help.
Only a couple of cars pitted over on the backstretch. Dale Earnhardt Jr. was one of them, Matt.
Alan, and it was not for pit strategy. It was because Dale Earnhardt Jr. radioed in 3 laps before that caution, said, loose, 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 wedge, 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 I need it bad, I am going to the back. So when the caution came out, it came in and tightened him up. They made a track bar adjustment, 2 rounds down, and a slight air pressure adjustment for Dale Earnhardt Jr. They also pulled out the right rear fender. Bill Snyder, the tire carrier, pulled it out. He has some slight cosmetic damage to Marty Snyder.
And a potential problem for Tony Stewart, Matt, already in the race. He is radioing to his team that he has a little bit of a brake problem. Now, the team has had a brake issue the entire weekend, but he says when he pushes the pedal, it feels like the brakes are grinding. They were going to come down pit road, but way too early to lose that much track position, so they're going to leave him out, see if he can live with a brake problem.
Cars who pitted: Dale Earnhardt Jr., Ricky Craven, Johnny Benson, and Kurt Busch. Those are the only 4 that made stops under this caution flag. And we are coming to the restart now as the field works its way through turn 4. Jeff Green, Mike Skinner, Elliott Sadler, Ricky Rudd, and Jeff Gordon, the top 5.
Green, green, green.
Rudd and Gordon racing for 4th, 5th. Harvick back in 6th, right behind them.
And Kurt Busch just left the backstretch pits. He's back on the speedway, but he's now a couple laps down for an unscheduled pit stop.
Oh, hang on there, Happy.
On board with Kevin Harvick as he tries to chase down Jeff Gordon, Ricky Rudd.
More troubles for Kurt Busch. He's on the apron of the track. Matt, what's going on?
Now, and he came in, made a stop because his transmission was stuck in 2nd gear.
Brett Bodine has crashed
turn
in turn 4. Caution's out, field stacking up.
And the 27 car has a lot of smoke from behind it. Rick Mast.
Bodine was running in 18th place. And he has gone a lap down. 2nd caution of the Sharpie 500 at Bristol at lap 24. You're watching NASCAR on TNT.